Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus, where we get to discuss a lot of what's happening in the world of business. And today we are celebrating Kudzie's birthday as we discuss business. And to help us understand, it is our birthday boy, Kudzie Sharara, to help us understand more. But before we talk about the markets and all, Kudzie, I saw an article in the Sunday Mail where the RBZ governor spoke about the issues of de-dollarization. In fact, he spoke about moving to a full monocurrency by 2030. What is a full monocurrency to you?
Thank you, Tinashe. So it's interesting because I've had an opportunity to speak to some officials, and they have never said like the governor put it, to say full monocurrency. They always said, I know it would be in terms of transactional monocurrency, but maybe they are speaking the same thing, because to me, when we are going to be on full monocurrency, which they are saying it's by 2030, I think in terms of what they call legal tender, Tinashe, kana wafunga kutenga chinhu muZimbabwe, kana kuti wafunga kutengesa chinhu muZimbabwe, the only currency that you can use is the local currency.
Okay.
And I think it used to be ZIG. And it is. So, in terms of transaction, kana wafunga kuita any transaction, chinonzi legal tender muZimbabwe, chekuti wese ari kuita any transaction, whether uri kutenga ndiwe kana kuti uri kutengesa, mutemo unenge wakuti shandisa local currency chete. Hauchabvumidzwa kushandisa any other currency. So that's full monocurrency for me. You can have all these accounts, whether you've got a yuan, whether you've got a yen, whether you've got a British pounds in your accounts, your US dollar in your account, the account yako yoyo.
Saka governor vari kuti ivo ma-US hatisi kukurambidza, asi unokwanisa kungomashandisa kana wakubuda muno muZimbabwe uchienda unomashandisa haku somewhere else. Munomu hapana kuti Kudzie dringi riri kunzi $4 or dollar iri.
You have to be using the ZIG. And I think kana urunzi uchaita mari tinashika ipapapa between now and 2030, I think what to accumulate my US dollar, because unless you are an exporter, especially as individuals, unless you are an exporter, you go to South Africa, you go and do whatever you do or any other country, how are you going to earn my US dollar? As anyone in Zimbabwe is earning my US dollar. Ndikafunga kutengesa majanja angu masawa ari kwezvo in this season, I can earn my US dollar now. But after 2030, I can only earn US dollar by exporting or receiving my remittances. Tumira amakunze kwenyika again to earn my US dollar.
But this is not the first time we've used mari yedu mu Zimbabwe. What measures have they taken to make sure that atidzokere kuzotsvagana ne-US dollar? Because we've used it so many times. Tikadzoka kuZIG, tikambodzoka kuRTGS, it has happened. It's just history repeating itself.
That's a very good question, Shumba. And I'm hoping if they are to succeed, kuti tisadzokere kuti tamboenda kuma-US dollar tadii, if they are to succeed, then there are certain things that have to be put in place, some certain discipline inodiwa, because what got us here, yes, there were other issues, sanctions, drought and whatever zvakaitika, kuprinta mari kwavagona anditi ndo zvimwe indiscipline yaitoitika iyoyo. That's what brought us here. Yes, there were issues, but printing yatakazonyanyoita, trying to do whatever we're trying to do, it brought us here, where everybody then lost confidence in the local currency. And remember kuti government yakazongoisa chidhindo chekuti takubvumidzai kushandisa ma-US dollar, but vanhu vanga vatotanga ta sei vega.
But hazvizokwanisa kuita saizvozvo here kuti iweyo Kudzie, yes, vanhu vanenge vachingotrader behind the scenes. I come to your company, ndokunototenga nema-US tichinzwanana tega, but I will receipt you in the local currency.
Ikoko kunenge kuri kutyora mutemo Tinashe, kunenge kuchiitika handiti, but chinozoita kuti zvirambe kuitika enforcement zvikange widespread, kuti Shumba nekwavo, Soko nekwavo,
Mofu kwavo.
Yes, everyone. Like now, it becomes difficult to enforce. So, ipapapo inenge iri mhosva, but pane mhosva inopedzera yangonza munhu wese ari kuzviita. You know, like everyone is doing it. And ivo vacho varidzi vemutemo vanenge vataona kuti ndingasunge nyika yese here. Hazvisiri possible. It means kuti the market would have refused to transition to a monocurrency. Issues of confidence. Market inenge yata guys muri kuti zvenyu ndo zvapa mutemo. But it's impossible for us to proceed as a country without using the US dollar. Everything will collapse. That's what the market will be saying at that time.
But at the same time, I was still going through that article in the Sunday Mail. I picked up where the governor is saying that we are looking at the target of 2030.
2030.
And then he goes on to say that it will be market-driven. Is that not contradictory?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because at one point they're saying there's a target, 2030.
Yes. And then you say
it's market-driven. So for me, trying to put myself into his shoes, what exactly is he saying? Because I think it's not the first time that I've heard that. It will be market-driven, but urunzo pane chimbo cha 2030
target, yeah.
Target. But I think Ivo, central bank, pavano vane zvavari kuita, I think, where they would then say isusu tichitarisa measures atiri kuisa in place, handiti tinofunga kuti patinosvika 2030 tinashe anenge akungotoshandisa monocurrency. Yes, tine target, but what we are putting in place, for example, zvimwe zvinhu zvavari kuisa in place that they think are ideal. For example, tiri kuti reserve ningirikini forex reserves. Okay. Yes, they're partly in gold. Forex reserves are apa 1.1 month cover.
Okay.
And it's 900 million to the last count. Apa ya 1.1 month cover. Tureva kuti we can import zvinhu for a month and a half. For a month and another, a tenth of a month, and if I may put it that way. So basically, ideally, we should have a 3 to 6 months cover. 3 to 6 months cover. Those notarisirwa globally as a global benchmark. In fact, the global benchmark is six months. But one of those zimwe nyika dzisina kuzoita dzisiri that strong kuti at least mukazoita 3 months cover. Munenge musina yanyoita sei kuipa, of which tiri mu 2025 tane 1 month cover. So there, if you think kuti by 2030, I'm sure vanenge vakuma 4-5 months cover. And especially gold rikaramba richita zvari kuita, where it is now above 4,000. And this we are gold riri kubhadharwa as part of my reserves edu, and this hopefully they are converting some into USD, mweramba iri gold, something like that. But if we could do in 1 year, remember it's 1 year since Zigra introduced, well, just above a year, and we have managed to raise more than a month's cover. I think by 2030 paine 6 months cover iri kudiwa. That's number one chiripo icho. Kweta issue stability tinasha, and we have seen inflation. It has been very stable, and it over the last couple of months it has been very stable. And vakambinga ine target yekuti panopera gore rineri year on year inflation yezig inenge yapa 30%, but they have since changed those projections. Vane confidence yekuti it will not be even be 30, it will be lower than 30, it will be 20%. So ndeimwe confidence yakuti if we can go to 20% this year, next year tikasvika kuma 15-12%, chino zvinhu zvastable ka. Saka by 2030 so ndo zvinhu zviri kuita kuti governor vazoti it will be market driven.
But at the same time, Kudzie, pavari kutaura governor pakuti full monocurrency by 2030, zviri kureva here kuti 2030 ndopo vachazotaura kuti ya monocurrency, or 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029 going forward? Panapa pakati apa tofana kunge tatwa mulevel remonocurrency. Kana tirongonomirira pa 2030 ndopa changoti 1 January 2030 storm monocurrency.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting question, which needs me to really think well. I think since it will be market driven, and they could be believe when we get to 2030, 90%, let's say, I'm giving my own figures, 90% of transactions in Zimbabwe, vanhu vanenge vasina basa ndiri kutransacta nei, 90% yazig, and Saka you can actually say by 2030 kuti tamirira pano, because vanhu vasara vava shoma, the majority are now indifference. Indifferent kuti ndiri kushandisa currency yakaita sei, handiti the majority. Saka by ukazongoti kwasara vanhu 10% ndo yasara ichiri kuda kuramba yakaba, avo unogona kungaudza guys tamirira pano, instead of vice versa. Imagine if 90% is still using USD in 2030, you can't tell 90% of the population kuti tamirira pano, munetya chaos. But if now 90%, it's now 10%,
the other way around.
I think you can tell people that guys, but it's also same time
10% would not affect much,
and you can arrest 10%. Yes, I don't want to, but 90% no needs.
So with that, Kudzie, it will bring me to the question where we want our listeners to call us in and tell us, what would it take for you to have confidence or to accept Zig? Yeah. Call us in on 0772-269-229 or 0772-269-241.
I know one is nga short papa. Chakudza off air and then uchaiona kana yazita. Pane one I short.
I've got an idea because around. Maybe I can read it way before we start picking up the calls. This one says, on the issue of monocurrency, is it not better Daivaka is some milestones? For example, by 2027, fuel will be sold in Zim dollar. 2028 passports and so forth. Just saying 2030 feels like just a talk. Isn't a substance. Hapana any benchmark that shows Kuti we are on a track towards that.
Okay. So yeah, I think he has got different benchmarks to the ones that the RBZ is using.
Okay.
For him is by product. My products are got say fuel. Yeah, fuel sorry. Say fuel, say passport. I those retreats zanetsa. Do my benchmark I but iwo varushanda nema percentages. Kuti by 2030 my deposits anofana kunge apa in Zig. By 2030 my transactions anofana kunge apa in Zig. And this, for example, that 90%, it's just my own figure, but if 90% of transactions are now in Zig by 2030, nothing can stop us.
Yeah.
I think when I'm my benchmark, I think vanga watumbori ne benchmark yekuti even my machine, my transactions are anoenda through the system, of which they are now saying at 40% if I'm not mistaken, from about 24 some time back. Yeah.
So let's hear from you. You call us in on 0772-269-229 or 0772-269-241. What would it take for you to have confidence or to accept Zig? That is our question. There is a comment coming in from Greg McDonald, who's saying that as long as you can walk into any bank with Zig and change it into US dollar without restrictions.
Yeah, and hopefully by then, Tinashe, and it's a good point. Hopefully by then, tinenge tisisina kuwanda because you know almost everyone arutsvaga maUSD kana achida kutobhadhara rent handiti munhu kana achida kubhadhara rent handiti aritoda maUSD kuti abhadhare rent because I don't think there are many landlords vari kuda chi saka everyone wants to walk into a bank now, but I'm hoping kuti kana iwo malandlords acha akutambirawo futi Zig ka vanhu vanoenda kubank kuti ndoda maUSD maybe munhu ada kutravela, maybe ada kubhadhara something outside the country, maybe and it's no longer like everybody aritoti izvo zvinasi ukanzi munhu esada maUS kubank ezvinezvi everyone ane Zig anogona kutoenda kubank. Why? Because ndine ma-obligations asinga, for example fuel yacho iri kutaurwa nezvayo passport ndiri kutoda maUS.
Okay, let's speak a call. Business Focus, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yeah, thanks Koma Kudzie nezvamuri kutaura, asi ini ndiri kungoti kuti tiende kuma-US ndofa ndikangoenda pabhengi kana paBerudi exchange nemaziga angu ndinongosvika ndichingonotransacta ndobva ipapo ndine ma-US. Kana tikasvika palevel iyoyo tinokwanisa kudaro. If you go to Zambia, that's what is happening. Ukaenda nemakwacha avo wakuda ma-US unongoenda paBerudi exchange wotora ma-US ako, kana uchida makwacha wotora makwacha. Izvozvo tikangosvika ipapo tatopedza, taakukwanisa kuita confidence yekuti dzora ishunu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree. Also, the establishment of the Bureau de Change themselves, I think they are there, but they've lost relevance, I think. But even wakomana street talk wachi lose off the relevance. Washoma wakomana streets and rate very, very convergence. I think it's no longer 20% premium, around 10 thereabout.
Muzura Mshonga is saying that as long as my foreign medical bill will require someone to say approve or not, I will not trust the system.
Yeah, I think here to some extent I agree with him. And kune mafigures ngota haya vanotombovunzonzi ndoda $100 nda $500 nda $1,000 should just get it. But kana uda 10,000 any bank even South Africa ukaenda uchida kungo withdraw even marands a certain amount inotonzia.
Business Focus, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, say please go ahead with your contribution.
I think in a way confident amongst our and the biggest in any nation is the government. Government the biggest product no tenga futhi ka mama people die. The government is
Oh, yes. Sorry, say your line is breaking. We can hardly pick up all your points that you. Hello. Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah,
there's another one who's saying that on WhatsApp was saying that as long as Zig is not accepted outside the country, then we are not yet ready.
Look, I think kune like countries like Zambia and it. My chances ekuti South Africa, Botswana, yes, you might say they must accept our currency. But izvozvo ukaenda ukabva izvozvo ukanoya nema Zambian kwacha muno any bank Zimbabwe and it unoona kuti ma challenges
for acceptance
for acceptance to change it. Unoona ma challenges, but yeah, it's something that is ideal. That's why when you go into my banks unotoona vakaisa ma exchange rates paningirikini bye. Yes, but kuma bank you are not going ne your own currency mu shop unoti ndinda yani ma Chinese yuan rotenga ndaya ni ma Zambian kwacha rotenga unotoenda ku bank munyika iyoyo anditi. So I think what he means is that as long as ndichiti ndikatora $10 ndikaenda nawo kubank iri South Africa, Peru Dishange iri South Africa or any other country vasingama accept, then panenge pachine challenge.
All right, this one says it starts with the government. Fuel first ikangotengwa nezigi then zvinhu zvese bo because ndokwatino I use fuel to run my business.
I think the Dr. Mshawan spoke about it in his article in the Herald, where he spoke about the increased acceptance of the local currency and or use rather by government itself.
But at the same time, Kudzie, as much as we're talking about full monocurrency by 2030, are we not supposed to be at this level in 2025 going forward to be working on the manufacturing in the sector so that we are exporting more of our products than importing?
Yeah, so it's not even about exporting more because yes, we want that foreign currency, but Zimbabwe, in terms of earning foreign currency, we are one of the biggest forex earners. And it challenge yedu tinashe ndiye kusato producer even for our own selves and it ndiye kusato producer ma products atino accepta
locally
kunyazoti nini kana ya product yakati hakuna anokunda proton or whatever another product and it hakuna whether arubva South Africa or arubva kupika, ours is best. I see
the issue to do with cost of doing business and
which is now being
pricing models.
Yes, which is now being addressed.
Cooking oil yemuno dura than yatova ku Cape Town kuya Zimbabwe.
And you saw especially the example that they've given. Mafuta azara muno munde vese vakambouya vakadzokera because things were sorted in that sector, and we are now producing our own cooking oil, which is cheaper or even competitive with any other cooking oil in South Africa. Cooking oil in South Africa is market.
Just briefly, before we cross off for the news, nyaya yokuti zigi atisukwanisa kuribata is hard currency. We are having the US dollar more in our hands than our own local currency. Confidence.
Yeah, I think it needs to be addressed. Tinashe tiribate ndaribata ndikarisa mu wallet kana muhongo mga panozoda kuriburitsa ndisangenda kushambiskota ma tissue eraya because risina raluza the texture ya loser and stuff like that. It has to be durable. I think and the good thing is that the RBZ has said they are working on it, but I think they are taking too long. I don't know for whatever reason they are taking a little bit too long than we thought, because more than a year we are working on new knots.
All right, Kudzie.
Not new currency, but new notes.
New
Because
notes.
ndakazoona pa-social media munhu achibvunza kuti amuri kumboti
It's just the new designs to
new
the
designs
old
to
Zig.
the current Zig.
All right. Thank you so much, Kudzie, for Business Focus. And once again, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Tinashe. Thank you for the
Business
birthday wishes.
Focus with Kudzie Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.